The Pistons are the basketball champions of the world.
Detroit, it's time. It's playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work.
Shout out Detroit. I got to buff up, you know what I'm saying? Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buffs On Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313. We got three of us here today, so Connie and Gabe are going to get to talk about their thoughts and reactions to the Pistons win over the Raptors, snapping their historic losing streak. Gabe also has concocted 8 mock trades for us to go over, and then to wrap it all up, we will look ahead, and we asked, is another long losing streak in the Pistons' future? We'll get to that in a bit, but first, Connie, you're first on my screen. How do you feel about this historic losing streak finally coming to an end?
It feels real good. It doesn't feel as good as I thought it would feel, but it feels pretty good. We were at our mom's house. We were having a dinner party, and basically like me and others were watching the game, and then more and more people started like filtering into the room with the TV. Eventually, it was just like everybody standing in the back of the room watching the Pistons pull off this losing streak ending W. A lot of people that weren't Pistons fans didn't really care, and it ended with a standing ovation. So that felt very, very legit, very real. It's like, wow, this ended. But at the same time, I think Gabe talked about it a little bit previously. It's like when this win comes, it'll sort of like reset some things, change some things up, like set us to a new baseline or something. That I don't think happened. It still feels pretty similar to the same Pistons team, except now they broke the streak.
Gabe, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, Connie articulated it perfectly. The vibes kind of even before the losing streak ended, they kind of like we started to play decent basketball, and then I mean Raptors scored like 20 points in the last like 2 minutes of that game. So like it ended on like a low note, even though we won, but you could just see the relief on all the players. Like Monty said, it was a party in the locker room. It's just like for fans, it doesn't feel that great, especially because we got destroyed by the Rockets right afterwards. But I think for the players to have that reset, to have a win, to like realize that this is how it feels to win a game, like this is a good feeling. Like you saw Cade up at the podium, he was smiling. You know, he was up there every night saying, "Man, it's tough. It's a struggle. We just gotta keep going." And he was smiling, which is really rare to see. But yeah, like Connie said, it didn't feel as good as I thought. But I do think the team is at a, especially with the like rotations minus Isaiah Livers. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Is like more set, and yeah, it's just we're just a bad team now, right? There's no more history pressure. There's no more memes about the Pistons. We're just bad now, which is all right with me.
Yeah, and the only reason that this season seems as bad as it is because we didn't sneak one win in within those 29 games. Like the Spurs have been bad, the Wizards have been bad. It's just we're worse because we didn't squeeze a win out. Like if that Wizards Pistons game was flipped and we beat the Wizards, then who's the worst? I mean, the season would still suck, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like it just seems like so much worse because we didn't squeeze a win out in that span. I also coming out today on the Woj pod. You guys sent it in the chat. Did you guys have a listen to Troy and Cade talking, and what are some of your takeaways from there? We'll start with Gabe because I started with Connie last time.
Yeah, I did listen to it. With Cade, it's just kind of what I expected. He is the absolute gem of a person and a player that this organization needs. He's a leader by example. Like all this tough stuff, he just kept saying like you have to endure it to get stronger out the other end. And then Weaver, that was almost like a fluff piece. He didn't really talk much. Like, what would you even ask? Like, do you see like problems in the roster? Pretty much, and he's like, obviously we need shooting, but we like what we have. We think the pieces fit. even though everybody else in the NBA world says these pieces don't fit. So he also said they'd be aggressive in free agency and the trade deadline. So let's see what that means. And then just now I saw on Reddit that we're going to be extremely like all in on Pascal Siakam, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think he's a winning player, even though he won the championship. He's not that. I'd rather have like a Jeremy Grant than uh Siakam, but that's pretty much like what the podcast was. Fluff piece on Weaver, Cade being who we thought he was.
Yeah, a lot of the questions were of Woj asking Cade about the losing streak, what it's like for him, and how he's gotten through it. And he says, drive homes and right before you go to bed is the hardest because you're not around anyone. It's just you and you get in your head. It's hard to fall asleep and it's hard to focus. So, like Gabe said, great listen. And Cade just being a gem of a person. Connie, any thoughts on the Woj pod before we move into some of our mock trades?
Something I was really worried about with this team, especially in the losing streak, was building a culture of losing and a culture where it's like it doesn't matter that these losses are happening. Just like go to the next one, plan for a draft pick. But I'm really glad that Cade is hurt by these and that these still matter to him, and that the 28th loss still sucks as much as the 7th does. And it's like instead of making him apathetic, he talked about it's like I've always just been able to win basketball games. And this is like a point where it's like, are you going to get better or are you just going to accept that this is how good you are and you're going to lose basketball games now? I think he's going to want to win basketball games. I think that's his like number one driver. And I could see like this is going to happen. This is going to happen and it's going to make skill improvements for Cade. It's going to like this is I think instead of being a detrimental factor, I think could push him uh, to like become a better version of himself in basketball. And as far as what Troy Weaver said, I don't care what Troy Weaver says. Everything that guy says is just going to be like, I'm trying to save my job and whatever, whatever. Also, Pascal Siakam, uh, no thanks. Sounds like talking out of two sides of your mouth. It's like we need shooting, we need spacing. We're going to bring in a four that doesn't shoot to play next to our center that doesn't shoot. Uh, and we're going to be in the exact same situation.
Yeah, one other note on the Woj pod before we move into Gabe's mock trades. Troy said that he talks to Tom Gores every day, and that Gores is on him and they have good conversation. So, kind of the big, I guess, thing Troy said. Not that it means anything. I mean, but have a listen to the pod for yourself. We won't spoil too much of it. But anyway, Gabe, we've mentioned it twice already. The mentions of Pascal Siakam being of interest to the Detroit Pistons. I'm with you guys. I mean, Siakam has his benefits, but I don't think he's what we need on this team. Like Connie said, let's put a guy who doesn't really shoot threes next to our center who doesn't shoot at all. So, Gabe, get into those mock trades you got for us.
Okay, and a lot of these are just, some change in the roster, even though it might not be exactly what we need, or if the other team would even like consider them. And then when it comes to picks, I know we can't technically trade our first round pick this year, but there's always stuff that these GMs can work around and stuff. So bear with me on those. First one, Bagley, Joe Harris plus picks for Jeremy Grant. For me, this is a no-brainer. I don't think Portland wants Jeremy Grant. I think they're technically behind us in the rebuild. And it would get them off that money. And, of course, our picks are valuable.
I wouldn't hate it.
How many picks are you thinking? Like when you say picks?
I'm thinking, like, what did we get for him? Like a late first or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, a future first. Throw in a second as well. Like he's a good player on a long-term deal.
Bagley. So that means that you're gonna go. What are you gonna do? You're gonna move Stu to the backup five and kick
Yeah.
Wiseman. Is that what you're thinking?
Start Jeremy Grant, cut Wiseman, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why. We want Jeremy. Jeremy Grant would be really well on this team. Defensively, he's got the mindset, and that's kind of the problem with the roster construction, right? And this is kind of what we saw in Utah. We got guys who can shoot but can't defend, and we got guys that can defend but can't shoot. And Jeremy Grant has a little bit of both. So let's bring in JG. I don't bring him back.
Yeah, he can really shoot now,
Yeah,
which I would love to see.
and he's not going to be the black hole on offense that we thought he was towards his at the end of his tenure here. And he's a nice option late in the shot clock, so we don't always have to give it to Cade or Bogey. So it's not bad.
All right. Next one. This is off that interest that Stu has around the league. Trading Stewart to the Mavs for Josh Green and Jaden Hardy. What do you guys think of that one?
I don't want to get rid of Stu, but I do like Josh Green.
Yeah, I feel like he's like a great fit around Cade. I don't think the Mavs are playing him right.
Not that I've seen. I watched a couple of the games. I didn't see him much. I mean, yeah, Jaden Hardy come home, I guess. Does he replace Marcus Sasser? Like, is that what the look is here? Like,
yeah, maybe. He's just another guy that like he's shown scoring flashes. He could be like a Cam Thomas, right? And he's from Detroit, so
yeah, that doesn't hurt. Connie, your thoughts?
I don't know about that deal. Mainly because it doesn't solve the main problem, which is like our roster is entirely made of bigs and guards. You try and trade one big for two guards. I guess
Josh Green is the wing, I'd say.
He's a guard-sized wing though, because he's like 6'3", 6'4". Like he's not a big dude.
No,
he's like listed 6'5".
Yeah. Oh, he's 6'5". I thought he was bigger.
No way.
I thought he was bigger than that.
I thought he was smaller than that. Great mystery of Josh Green's height.
Yeah, exactly. I can see where you're coming from though. It doesn't really solve the problem, and Stu's one of our better defenders, I would say. So that would also kind of not help defensively. I mean, we just gave up 154 to the Jazz, so I think we need to keep as much defense as we can.
And I think that deal would unlock more Wiseman minutes, which I don't need to see.
This is also
true. All right, next one I've talked about before. It's Joe Harris, Marvin Bagley, Killian Hayes, and a few second-round picks for Zach LaVine. I just think his value is low enough where we don't actually have to give much. They want to get off his contract more than anything, I think. So why not?
It's just the money that keeps bothering me. I love Zach LaVine as a player. You guys know I love Killian Hayes, but he's been playing like absolute doo-doo since he came back from his illness. So I don't know. It's the money that's bothering me, I guess. I just can't say yes because I don't want to pay Zach LaVine $40 million a year.
How long does that deal go out? You know?
I think it's 4 more years. I'll look it up.
How does his deal align with the extensions that we're going to have to give out?
He has a player option in the 26-27 year.
So
after this year, he has 2 years plus the player option, which of course he'll take for $50 million.
Oh yeah. That's past new media money, though. You know.
And he also has a 15% trade bonus.
But I think, do we pay that or do they pay that?
I don't think it's against the cap, but yeah. Yeah. As of now, his contract is about 30% of the league cap. But like you said, Connie, that's gonna rise. And I think for a player of his caliber, we're obviously gonna max Cade. I assume we're not gonna max Duren and we're not gonna max Ivy, but they're gonna get a lot of money. Way more than Stewart, I think. So I think we do have money for another max player. It's just, do we want that to be LaVine? I think we may as well. I think it's.
What's your ideal starting 5 if you get LaVine then?
Cade, LaVine, Bogey, power forward, and Duren.
So Ivy's bench again.
Yeah. I think Ivy could thrive in like a Malik Monk type of role as long as he can still play 30 minutes a game. It just will always have like two of those guys on the floor pretty much.
Also, the benching stings a lot less when it's for Zach LaVine and not Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
This is true. It's just Ivy off the bench didn't have his swag.
Yeah, but it also was like for like 15 games with disgusting players around him. I think with like more in the future, like he can thrive in a lot of ways just on ball. I think if he has the ball in his hands off the bench, it's good.
Just the money is bothering me, so just for that reason, I'm gonna have to say no. But I do like Zach.
Okay, yeah, that's understandable. I just think from like we just need talent and he's talent
Yeah,
if he's
no,
healthy.
from that
So
perspective, it's a
that's
hell
why.
yeah. But yeah.
All right. These next two are for some wings, or these next three actually are next four. Actually, all the rest are for wings, so that makes sense. So this one is with the Nets. And if Valley were here, he'd love this trade because we'd go Burks, Killian, Livers, and a second round pick for Dorian Finney-Smith and Harry Giles. I know Valley's a big Harry Giles fan. And DFS, he's on a 3-year contract. He can play the four. He can knock down threes. He's a playoff player. And we get rid of no one really. Burks is kind of like on a shot, but still, he's a wing, which would be awesome to have, I think, at the four.
I don't know. It's just not doing it for me. I don't know what it is, but I don't think like then you add another big to this roster, right? So then you're gonna have Bagley, Wiseman, who's probably not gonna play at all after this. Stu, Duran, Giles, right? Like we're still in the same.
Smith is like the like pet tier.
I don't think you have to worry about. I don't think you have to worry about finding minutes for Harry Giles.
No, he's cut.
I feel like that if we're just getting Giles, then I mean DFS, then I feel like that's a lot. That's 3 for 1 at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, but Killian sucks. Isaiah Livers is statistically the worst player in the league.
God,
And Burks is a free agent after this year, so
I don't hate it. I like Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, anybody on a team that's shooting 48+% from the corner, I'll take that. So, yeah.
And he defends.
And he defends. Yeah, that's helpful. What is he, 6'7"?
I think I saw he's listed 6'8".
6'8". That's not
but
a
he
bad
does seem a little bit smaller than that.
He does seem a little bit smaller. I mean, yeah, he basically just replaces Stu. You'd start him or bench him?
I'd start him. I think he's an ideal, he don't need the ball in his hands. He just hits threes and plays defense.
Yeah, him and Bogey at the wings.
That's a playoff wing rotation there, yeah. I'm not sure if the Nets would do it. I don't know why the Nets would do it really.
Yeah.
But their team they have way too many wings, so yeah.
You want to offload, so I'll take them.
So give them some more worse wings, and we'll take one of their better ones.
and some picks.
How much does Dorian Finney-Smith make? Do you have that on hand?
It was a very mid.
Okay.
Contract.
Okay, so yeah, Killian 5. Burks,
He's on a 4-year, $55 million. So about what Stu's making.
Yeah, about what Stu's making. That's fine. So yeah, Killian and Burks automatically cut.
That's a nice contract. Yeah.
And then they get Livers as a bonus and picks. Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
And that was with the Mavs, so I think he's already a couple years into that contract.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next trade, also with the Nets, also for a wing, although slightly smaller. It's Killian, Livers, second-round pick for Royce O'Neal.
I don't even think you need that much for Royce.
Royce is a little bit smaller, but he's just a good player.
Yeah, he's a really good player. I liked him. I wanted us to bring him in a little while ago. Yeah, I like Royce O'Neal. I'll take it.
You think we have to give up guys?
That's what I was thinking. Like, can we just throw a few picks their way?
Like 2 seconds for Royce O'Neal, who says no.
It's just for contract work. Yeah, the money, and I want the livers off the team. It doesn't really matter. And
I'd
it's just
swap
like,
Burks for O'Neal at this point. It's just a position thing.
yeah, and he's a little bit like larger than him, even though they're like the same height. He plays bigger.
Mhm. He plays bigger for sure, and he's not a free agent after the year, is he? O'Neal.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, if he's not, then if if we can trade an expiring for a guy who's around for a year or two, I'll take it.
All right, this next one is kind of in the eye of the beholder type of thing. It's with the Lakers who they need some shooting. So I thought why not Bojan, Livers for Rui, Jackson Hayes, and Jalen Hood Schifino. And then maybe they throw in a heavily protected pick as well.
I'd do it. I like all three of those guys.
Yeah, I mean Hood Schifino, I haven't really seen much of him, but he was a good college player.
Mm-hmm.
He can Rui, he can play. He'd be a good 4. I think he still has more to show. And then like Bojan, I know there's like some news out there like we want to keep him and not trade him, but I think that's a mistake. Like he's
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's older, but he's good. Rui
I mean,
isn't as much of a
we
spacer,
can
but
go in
he's like
circles.
bigger.
Yeah, I mean, we can go in circles on this all day, right? It's like, do you keep Bogey because he's one of the best scorers we have right now, or do you trade him and get whatever value you can out of him, sell high, right? So that's the real debate.
What does Jalen Hood Schifino do? I didn't watch him in college. I just know is he injured? He hasn't seen the court for the Lakers.
No, he was a really good like pick and roll player. He's like a big guard. He's just a young guy I mean, we suck anyway, May as well get another guy in there.
I mean, basically, if you wanted to move off of Killian Hayes and give minutes to Hood-Schifino, you could do that.
Yeah, like if we don't pay Killian, let him roll.
I mean, yeah, big guards are big guards, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's more for Rui. I think he's a good
Oh
player.
yeah, Rui's good, and Jackson Hayes as a backup big doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have Jackson Hayes than Wiseman, but he's also just in there for
same guy.
Contact. Yeah, he's
I
just
feel like Jackson Hayes is a better finisher.
Yeah, but he's not a good player either. But yeah,
From a mentality, b-ball IQ, defense standpoint.
Okay, yeah, but it's gonna be hard to nab one of those anyway.
All right, next trade is for the Knicks, who already made that OG trade a few days ago, and I think with another wing, they'd be really good. So Bojan going to the Knicks for Fournier's expiring, our own first back, and Quentin Grimes.
I knew that was coming.
Beef with the Knicks.
I'll take it. We get our.
I think this is the most like realistic win-win trade on the that I came up with here.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely for that. I knew the Quentin Grimes thing was coming as soon as you said the Knicks. The first gives us our flexibility back. Grimes gives us another bucket, and I mean Fournier can kind of still maybe shoot. I mean, whatever.
He's Joe Harris, basically.
He's Joe Harris, yeah. So, whatever. I mean, you want to sell Bojan, you get essentially a first-round pick back that allows you to be flexible in the future. So basically, you're trading Bojan, and it's an open-ended trade because you can move your first again anyway and get somebody else. So, yeah, I'm for it.
Yeah, I like that too. I really like Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes head. I think he's been underutilized, misutilized in New York. I think he's a hell of a shooter. He's had some huge 3-point games.
He has.
Oh yeah, I like this deal. Love it.
Yeah, I think this is the one I could actually like see happen. And then also a Jeremy Grant trade because Weaver loves Grant. All right, my last trade I just pulled up real quick because of the Kuminga tweet that
I was gonna bring it up after your 8 trades. I want.
Yeah.
What is this?
So, huh?
What is this, Kuminga?
Woj tweeted like Kaminga's extremely unhappy with like his role on the Warriors after that like benching and doesn't think Kerr can help him reach his potential. It was a trade request basically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I got a little Joe Harris, Alec Burks, Isaiah Livers for Chris Paul and Kaminga.
Oh.
Why? What?
Because there's no way for us to make just the Kaminga money work for them.
Are we throwing picks in that scenario?
We'd have to.
Yeah. We throwing picks, but like Paul is the dead money pretty much. He's not like a good player anymore. He's decent, but the Warriors like
for this team.
For this team would be good. On the Warriors, he's not, and so like, sure, maybe you can. I think trading Bogey for that is too much, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. Really, they could probably use some more.
I mean, are you doing this trade based off of we already made the Knicks trade happen? Because I mean, Bogey would probably most likely definitely have to be in that trade.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Kaminga as others, but I think he would be a good.
I mean, he's a lot of what we need. He's a big body. His shot's kind of coming along, right? I mean, I'd rather give him minutes than Wiseman.
Yeah, he is one of the most insane athletes in the NBA.
Not to mention him and Asar Thompson side by side. I mean, like, the backboard's not safe.
I've seen some of the stuff from him recently. I've sort of liked. There's some plays where he looks a little more under control, and like with his speed, his first step, and his size, like there's just dudes can't check him. Like they're just like they can't see in front of him. They can't keep him from the basket. I think on the Pistons there might be an opportunity to think that he's a bigger part of the offense than he should be. Josh Smith sort of scenario, where you have this big athletic wing that thinks he should probably be getting more shots than probably deserves to get. That would be my only holdup. But I'd like in theory like to bring Kuminga in Detroit on this team.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, just imagine like Asar, Kuminga, Duran all together. Throw Jaden Ivey and Cade there too. Like that's solid.
Might suck low key, but
I mean we might. But I mean, what do you mean suck low key? We suck high key right now.
Yeah, but it's just like that brings us back to the same sort of issue as the beginning of the year, where they're just playing no shooters. Like it's Kuminga to kind of talk myself out of it right now. Like the power forward, I think the Pistons team, especially with a guy like Duran on this team, if like he's gonna be a complete non-shooter, that power forward position has to be able to hit some threes, right?
Would you guys trade Stu for Kuminga?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning towards it, yeah. But
that's a tight one, but yeah.
Probably. That is tight. It's tight. But yeah, I mean, like, what guy is out there that okay? If you had to pick a perfect four for this team, who is it?
Jeremy Grant.
Okay, so it is Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's your guy right now.
Like as an older guy, more complete, like Jeremy Grant, dude who could do something. As a guy that could like grow with this team and I think be a long-term piece, Jabari Smith Jr. I'd love this on this Pistons team.
Yeah, he'd be nice. There's no way.
No shot. No shot at happening, but
I don't know. They don't love him that much. What about Asar for JSJ straight up? They get to combine the Thompson twins. We get a big shooting power forward.
Yeah, make the rivalry worse. Asar and Amen Thompson both angry at us. That'll be great.
Oh fuck! I don't care. I think that would make the team. That would make our team better for sure.
There's no way Rockets move off of him at all.
No, it doesn't. But we can dream.
I think he's like their, aside from Şengün, he's like their number 2 guy. Then, like of the future.
You think Jalen Green's been bumped?
Yeah, just from like internal stuff from the Rockets.
That's fair. That's fair. So other names we've been linked to, Tobias Harris. We've mentioned him a few times. I feel like we've been mentioning Tobias Harris forever, but
We're not getting
Again, how do you guys feeling about it?
we're not getting Tobias Harris. There's nothing
No.
the Pistons can offer that's going to help the Sixers win now, which is their goal, unless it's a three-team deal where the Pistons throw in more picks, which I don't want to do.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So, okay, Connie, of the Gabe, was that the last one?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so Connie, of all of those trades, which one would you be most likely to do?
I think the Knicks one.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the Trailblazers one. I'd be interested in the Trailblazers did that one, but yeah, bringing either Jeremy Grant to this team and giving us another wing and legit plan for it, or getting us our pick back, adding some more shooting and some flexibility. I like both of those.
What if, hear me out here, what if we trade Bogey to the Knicks, get Fournier, our first, and Grimes, and then we flip our first, protect it to the Blazers for Jeremy Grant? Bing, bong, boom. Get two guys. Look at
That would make me believe in Weaver more.
that. Hey, now you believe in me. That's all that matters. Any other thoughts on trades before we move into a look into the week ahead?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, you didn't give me enough time to pull up the schedule, so
Oh,
give me a
sorry.
second. I know we play the Warriors tonight, and then we head to Denver right after that. You guys expecting a little bit of what we showcased against the Celtics, or are we going to showcase what we showed against the Rockets?
I think we're gonna get stomped by the Nuggets and have a chance against the Warriors.
Yeah, I think we might actually win tonight. They're on a low, like they're low right now.
And
So
they just lost last night to the
they had a
Nuggets.
really demoralizing loss last night. Yeah. So
They come out sluggish. That works out well for us.
and like we beat them decently often, even these past years when we've been really bad. Like they have no size. So Katie will just eat at the rim tonight. Klay Thompson is washed. No Draymond Green still. So
Yeah. I mean,
it's a
Andrew Wiggins would
huge
have to guard Cade, and if that's the case, then you just let Bogey eat.
keep an eye on Kaminga. That's all I'm saying. Troy Weaver is in San Francisco, so keep an eye out.
Hey, I'm man. Now you got me excited, Gabe. Why are you doing that? Anyway, after the Nuggets game, we come back home and we have three games. Three games at home. One against the Kings. I don't think any of us think that we're gonna squeak one out. But then is the one Gabe has had circled on his calendar for a long time, and that's when Wembanyama comes to Detroit, and then we wrap out with the Rockets before heading over to DC. So maybe two wins in the next 5-6 games, possibly, if you can beat San Antonio and the Wizards, and maybe three if you could squeak one out against the Warriors tonight. So how we feeling? High, low?
I'm feeling high, and I'm gonna say 2 for 5, 2 for 6. I don't know where those come from, but I think they're gonna come. I think two wins and I think 2 for 6 is a hot streak for this Pistons team.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I mean, Jaden Ivey said we haven't won back-to-back games all year. Like, you know how sad that is?
Did they win back-to-back games all of last year either? Has Jaden Ivey ever won NBA back-to-back games?
That's a good question. I'm
We
sure
must have won. Yeah,
we
we
must.
must have.
Must have. 17-win season. Must have won a back-to-back.
Come on, Connie. You're the online guy. Look it up. Give us the facts here. Gabe, how you feeling about this next week while we give Connie some time to do a little internet research?
I think this is the week it turns around. I think we're gonna win three. We like I think we're gonna beat the Spurs, and I think we're gonna beat the Wizards, and I think we can beat Golden State tonight.
That would
Obviously, history's not on our side right now, but I think we're actually a decent team.
how many wins are we on pace for? Like 6.5?
Probably.
Okay, so Jaden Ivey has won back-to-back games in his career. Last year, the Pistons had a single back-to-back 2 dubs in a row versus the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz in the 22nd and the 23rd of November.
Wow.
Over a year ago.
Wow. That's so sad, dude. We haven't had two back-to-back happy games of Pistons basketball in like 14 months.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's amazing. Any other thoughts before we kind of wrap this out? Come on, bro, moments. Any haters of the week?
I gotta give Alec Burks some love. He played really well against the Jazz, and then he kind of bricked it away in OT. But yeah, he played well. That was a crazy game. That was a
That
crazy
was a
game.
crazy game. That was a crazy game. Once Markin made that three, I was like, oh, here we go.
I
But
got when Isaiah Livers game clock running out, gets the ball in his hands. He's like, "This is my moment," and
Yeah.
and it is instantly sent back to him by who blocked it? Lowry.
Marcus
Kessler. I was like, "Come on, bro!" And it was followed right afterwards by a holy shit Bojan because he hit the three right afterwards. But
That
Isaiah
was amazing.
Livers being like, "Yeah, now is my time. I'm shooting this," and then getting swatted, stuffed back in his face. Come on, bro.
Yeah, but that was probably one of the greatest games that we've had since we started the pod. Like, how many highlights were there of that game? Like, Cade posterizing Kessler, Duran going for a piggyback ride, Bogey's triple, Burks' triple. Like, 4 highlights in one game. Like, that's crazy.
Nuts.
Nuts. I have one other question. Gabe, you kind of wanted to touch on Isaiah Livers over Jaden Ivey. You want to go into that real quick?
Yeah, I didn't watch the game. I just watched the recap on YouTube. So yeah, I was just like, why did Ivy play so little?
I think it was because Burks was so hot. I think that was like the only real reason. That was like the only real reason, I think. So, but and plus, if you put in Ivy over Livers, then you're going even smaller. They had Markkanen and Kessler both in, so kind of made sense to me. So, real quick, anything else before we get out of here? Nope. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Buffs on Podcast. Remember to follow us and subscribe. Leave a review to let us know what you guys think of the pod. We're about 14, 15 months into this pod, so some feedback would be greatly appreciated on how we're doing. So anyway, the Pistons could win tonight, according to our guys. So until the next pod, go to the Buffs on Detroit. The future is bright.